Let's go, Rick.
Let's go. Hey, look at you in that beautiful green surrounding. I'm so envious. It's so unfair. It's raining here.
It's just started drizzling here, but it's light rain, so it's fine.
Okay, cool. Danny Norman's already asking a question. I love it. That's brilliant. That'll be in there immediately. Right, okay, here we go. I'm Helen Williams, parkrunner A6014. I'm the event director of Harrogate Junior Parkrun here in the UK, and alongside Vassos Alexander, co-presenter of the Free Weekly Timed podcast. Before we start, as always, I'd just like to recommend that after this conversation, people check out the many parkrun social media channels in the UK and across the world, as well as subscribing to the various parkrun podcasts out there. You'll find me on the Free Weekly Time podcast, but there's also, as Danny Norman is in there, the wonderful With Me Now podcast, Parkrun Adventurers and the 9:30 Club, to name a few others. So, Born, without further ado, let's introduce you for today's question and answers. Everybody, hello Parkrun and our Parks family. We're joined by Born Barikor. Born is a multi-award winning sports industry entrepreneur, wait for it, battle rapper, radio producer, DJ, grime MC, sportsman with a 16:52 parkrun PB, amazing, pharmaceutical science graduate and former community development officer. In 2014, he founded Our Parks to deliver free group exercise in parks and at outdoor spaces. A unique initiative bringing free group exercise classes led by fully qualified instructors to parks near you in partnership with local authorities. It is Born and his team's aim to ensure that easy access to exercise is available for all in the local community. Our Parks allows boroughs to provide coached exercise classes free of charge for the community within a green surrounding, and currently has over 150,000 members. Hello, Born. Welcome.
Hi. I'm very pleased to be on the show.
Yeah, it's so good to have you here. But look at those. I can't get over how wonderful you are. You're in Dorset, aren't you? It just looks absolutely amazing, your background.
Oh yeah, it's lovely. It's just started watering the garden as you spoke. So I'm probably going to move over under a tree in a second. Actually, I'll move you over there now.
Yeah, let's go now before we get into it, so you can concentrate. You see, we've just had rain all day in Harrogate. It's just been mizzly and drizzly and grey. And yeah. I thought in the south it was always sunny, Born.
Yeah. It normally is. So I'm just going to put you guys there. Let me get on the bench.
Oh, look at that.
There we go.
Bit of weightlifting.
That's my workout for the day.
Right, Born. I reckon the first question we've got to ask, because, you know, we have got a whole load of our parks and park runners listening. 16:52, and it was on your first ever park run at Hackney Marshes. So way back in 2011, by the way, this is. So that's a good 3 years before you'd founded Our Parks. Were you a serious runner at the time then?
I used to run 400s. I was a decathlete at the time. And that was my first. It's quite flat in Hackney Marshes, just so you know. So that was my first park run. And I actually got pipped on the line by another runner, and everyone took the mickey out of me because I meant to be a sprinter. So I should have had a sprint finish. But yeah, no, I'm probably not in 16:52 shape at the moment, but yeah, I do get out, especially over these times. I've been running a lot, so we're trying to get a 17-minute park run time. It's going to be more realistic now these days.
Oh yeah, just 17 minutes then. 16:52 so that is your PB, isn't it? 16:52. But I have to say, if I could run 17 anything, I'd definitely be on a scooter. So you're clearly driven. You are really clearly driven. Where does it come from? Where does your drive come from?
I'm a jack of many trades, and I think it comes from just really wanting to be competitive and compete and enjoying being around people that are driven as well. And I think sport is just a leveler for everyone. So if you get into sport or you get into physical activity, in that moment, you're taking part in that class, that session, or that run, no matter how much money you have in the bank or how you grew up. At that precise moment, everyone's the same.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what kind of drove me to do what I do today, because I got to meet people I would never have met through athletics, through music, and now everything I do now is trying to make an impact on someone else's life.
Absolutely. And you go back quite a long way with Parkrun founder Paul Sinton Hewitt. So when did you first meet him, and did Parkrun influence the development of our parks?
Yeah, 100%. So it's a really, really great story, because Ivo as well from Good Gym, and Paul and I, when I was first founding our parks, and Paul was incredibly busy, and I remember us sitting down in a coffee shop and him finding the time to meet was amazing. I was honoured, and we kind of got talking, and I think when you have someone that's willing to give their time to help initiatives thrive, and we weren't in the same space. I think our parks is born on the fact that we're trying to get inactive communities to get ready to be able to run the first 5K.
Yeah.
And I had the idea of it being free, and it resonated with obviously Parkrun. The Parkrun influence, if I'm honest, Parkrun is influenced in every kind of sporting initiative out there in the UK. And anytime you go somewhere, all you can hear is like Parkrun, like Parkrun. So it's just changed so many people's perception of what a community of people can do. And I think sitting alongside a guy that's founded that, and kind of listening to what I wanted to do at the time and believing in it was a massive validation to almost get you through those hard times, because it's hard. It's not easy taking an initiative, taking an idea, making it work, and having thousands of people turn up and rely on your program every week.
Absolutely, yeah. And when Paul discussed the kind of difficult parts, did that not make you think it might be too hard to do? Because although I suppose in another respect, the free to participate thing is the thing that everybody immediately knows it's going to be driven by that, and it's so important, isn't it, to knock down that first barrier for participation.
It's so important, and that takes you back to my first park run. So the time was amazing time, but I found out by a friend, so that viral growth, someone told someone that told someone that told someone, that it got to me. And I remember rocking up. It was 2011. Parkrun was on that curve. That curve just continues like that with Parkrun, but it was on that steep curve. It's always on. And I remember rocking up, and the experience I had was, wow, this is free. Why is it free? And why did I know about it earlier? And that's what I had. I think I had that experience, and I think that even though our park was born into 3 years later, all those little things, those touch points of meeting a volunteer, meeting people that really enjoyed being amongst the community, having an experience that you got some feedback from your time. So I didn't know 16:52 at the time was the fast time as well. So it was my first ever. I never used to run 5Ks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if anyone's listening thinking that sounds ridiculous. It was the first time. But I was from the track, so I had a sprinting background.
Yeah.
I kind of just went off as fast as I could and realised that that's not a way you run 5K, but I paid for it on the way back. And meeting all those communities, all those people, and then going home and sharing it and telling more people, and feeling really good about yourself that you've not only have you gone out and done your run or met people you've never would have met, but you've done your job in making more people aware about it. That's pretty much what installed in me for our parks, and it's all influenced by Parkrun. And like I said earlier, Parkrun influences so many fantastic organisations.
So if Parkrun kind of sowed the seed that you weren't aware of just by the experience, what was it that gave you the first idea? So that's kind of sat there and mulled in the back of your mind for those 3 years, and then obviously in 2014 there's been a catalyst that's actually made you just go off and start it. Where did the first idea come from, and what was the reason for it?
It was to almost solve a problem that I kept seeing in local parks, and my mum was one of the people that made me aware of it. Was we have all these inactive people that can't run, that can't do very much, don't want to be in a gym. So that whole we build it and then will come culture. That was what was happening in the borough that I was in. And I said, the only way to change it is to give them access to high quality exercise and then push them into other fantastic things. So I think as a sector, the problem we have, and this is why it's so great that I'm on here talking about our parks and you're promoting all these fantastic initiatives, is as a sector, we almost have our users and we don't work together.
Yeah.
We work in our silos and say, no, these are my users and no one else can have them. And that's how it's happened. Whereas when you go to any other sector, they open it up, they open their data. So go to booking.com and you can book your car, your airplane through various different providers, and the sector just grows. Whereas for some reason in our sector, everyone's fighting over customers. Well, we should be trying to make it as best as possible access to these fantastic products and get as many people doing it, and they will float between a good gym, float between a park run, float between our parks, and we keep them physically active.
Yeah.
So for me, it was that, and then my mum go for a run in a park, and let's be honest, if you're inactive and you want to go for a run, you're only going to be motivated if someone helps you, or you have a certain mindset that means I'm going to get through it. And then she said to me, it'd be nice if you could do some exercise classes in the park. And I said, why? Because I go for my run, I'm not really motivated. I don't really know how to use the kit that's in the park. So no one's really helping me, and I'll just go back to my old habits. And then when she went to inquire around the personal trainers that were doing stuff in the parks, it was just too expensive. It's so again, we've got people that are inactive, they don't want to be in a gym, they don't have very much money, and then the people that the place where they can go to and access for free, they're then being charged ridiculous amount of money, more money than they pay to get to the gym. So what happens to go back into that cycle? So I said, how can we stop this cycle that keeps going around? And it was, let's make fitness or inactive people free or paying access. So giving them high quality coaching in parks and open spaces, using data to show councils, funding organisations, if we can change the inactivity levels of the communities, starting in the most deprived communities, we save money in the future, because obesity, diabetes, all those inactive associated diseases, we're preventing them. And for me, it was just obvious. And then I kind of took a leap of faith, and that's when we came up with the idea of our parks.
And so really, you say your mum inspired you, but I suppose you wanted your mum to stay in fitness, didn't you? So you could see that was really difficult for her, and she's the perfect kind of, I know if my mum said she wanted to start running, I'd be overjoyed, but I can't possibly imagine her ever feeling like that was something. So she's really, really planted the seed for you to look at the perfect kind of customer, if you like, if you're going to use the word customer. It's just people who they really do want to exercise, but there feels like there's lots of barriers before you even get out of the door, and most of that is mental barrier, isn't it?
It is. It's a mental barrier. It's a perception of what's going to happen when you arrive. And I think for anyone that's delivering, we took that approach, that the way in which you greet your parkers, we call our users parkers. And the soft skills are the most important thing, because remembering names, kind of saying hello, saying goodbye, sometimes taking a photo at the end of the day makes massive amount of difference compared to how much exercise you know or how many burpees you can make them do. They don't want that. They want to come in and just have a bit of fun, work out, go home, think about it, and share it. So back to that whole first experience of, I went there, I loved it, I didn't know what to expect, I didn't feel out of place. I went home, I shared it, and I came back again. And that's what we want to be doing. And I think that was, for me, that installed a model of almost Parker satisfaction for anything and everything we deliver when it comes to a program. Yeah.
And did you have the equivalent? So the first ever park run was in Bushy Park, and there's a photograph of the 13 guys. There's some girls in there as well, toeing the line, but there's only 13 of them. That is a moment.
Yeah.
Is it raining really hard now?
No. I thought I was bringing closer to me. Sorry. I realised I was so far away.
Have you got the equivalent of that? Can you remember the first ever session you did for in our park's name?
Yeah, definitely. It was in Waltham Forest, in a park called Leighton Jubilee, and no one turned up. So I was there. I was in the rain. Guys, it's all happening today, and no one turned up. And I remember standing there thinking, "Wow, have I done the right thing?" And then next week, what, 4 people turned up, 5 people, and then when you fast forward now, where we have 150,000 people that do it, it's amazing,
Amazing.
to see what happens if you continuously look back. So what we did very well was we looked back at what we were doing and what we were doing right, and did a build, measure, learn. So we always kept evolving, so we can get more parkers to take part in the program.
And what were the biggest challenges in the early days? I mean, what are the biggest challenges that you find now?
Yeah, early days biggest challenge is it's trying to convince someone of a project idea, and this is for anyone that's thinking about doing something. When you have an initiative which no one understands because no one's done it before.
Yeah.
So, and I had this conversation with Paul as well, whereas we were saying we're going to pay our instructors, so all our instructors are paid to deliver our free exercise classes in parks, and then we're going to do it across the UK, and it costs a lot of money. And when you say that, and if you're going to try and get a loan or for a bank, they're going to say no, that's not going to happen because no one's going to pay you to give something away for free.
Yeah.
And I said I kept trying to convince people it's not free. We're paid. If we don't, the impact we have on giving someone an opportunity to take part in high quality exercise that never would have overweighs the monetary values of the amount of funding we need to do it. And we know that if we looked at it, we call it with social return on exercise. So we calculated what that would look like. Suddenly people start to get it. But then you have those, as an entrepreneur, you have those lonely moments where you are fighting or striving towards a journey. There's always bumps in the road. There are always bumps in the road. And I think the biggest thing what I learned was being agile and very lean in the early stages was the way in which we could pivot and go down those roads quicker than, say, take an organization take us as a mini, going down the road, we see a turn, we turn around and turn off, and take a big organization as a big coach. They have to go and find somewhere to turn around. By that time, we've already gone down that road.
Yeah.
I think that's what was really important in those early stages, and also having my wife's support, my team, made a massive difference.
And what about highlights? What have been your biggest highlights so far?
We've won quite a lot of awards. So when it comes to winning awards, we try and win one a year just to celebrate. And I said this the other day on a podcast. I think when you're in a position where you're continuously working to give things to other people, and you're going around this circle, if you don't have a moment, call it a ready, set, pause moment, where you can almost celebrate your success, and that could be an event, or that could be winning an award for that year. It can be very draining, and I think I said that to myself very early on in the career was, let's try and apply to some awards. And we won the BT Sports Industry Award for Community Program of the Year. And when we won that, it was like, wow, we was up against some really, really big organisations at the time that spent millions of pounds on their marketing, and we spent no money on our marketing. So I couldn't even afford to have to buy the table. So we sitting at the table, and it was like, oh, spent all this money on the table, and everyone on the table were going up and not being successful. And we was at the back of the room, and I remember this, and we kind of coined the table as the losing table but I still had to go, and the announcement came up, my name, our parts on the screen, and I was so emotionally happy because it meant all the hard work we've been doing over the past, I think it was 3 years into it, meant that we be recognised.
Yeah,
recognition is very important.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've got a list. I mean, so you were founded in 2014 and you have won awards every year since. So I'll tell everybody what they are. 2015, you won the Participation Programme of the Year Award at the Waltham Forest Sport Awards. In 2016, you were the winner of the Making It Easier Award at the London Sports Awards. In 2017, You won the Community Programme of the Year at the BT Sport Industry Awards, the ones you've just been talking about. 2018 Community Programme of the Year at the West Midlands Community Sports Awards. 2019 winner of the Sports Innovation Award at the Sports Business Awards. Now, we're in 2020. It's thrown everybody a curveball, Born. What has been the impact of COVID-19 on our parks? How have you all and your park has all dealt with it?
So 24 hours after COVID was announced for the lockdown, we went our parks live, fully online. We delivered all of our sessions online to not only the parkers that were the areas we were in, but it went kind of UK, it went national. It was we have all these coaches and all these parkers that need to access exercise, and the mental, not only the physical but the mental health was so scary at that time. So our developers built ways to track and book on. We used Zoom and whatnot to stream, but we saw parkers turning their cameras on. So at first, no one would turn their camera on. So I'm turning my camera on. And then suddenly, as the week went by, the cameras were on. They were talking in the chats, and then one of the parkers even had a birthday, and they had virtual cards for her and all sorts. And it was like, wow, this is amazing, and it's going to be part and parcel of what we do now. So we do our parks live. We do seven free live classes a day at the moment, and we're still going to be doing that. So yeah, I think it has had an impact. I think now it's probably had a better impact for us because we're in a really good position when we can return to exercise. Everyone's talking about the benefits of being outdoors. So you can see the spaces becoming crowded with people trying to get outside, which is great. Back to that whole sector point.
Yeah.
More people should be doing it, and more people should be helping each other to kind of show those benefits and get more customers.
Yeah.
So we're about to come out of it now. We're about to launch our campaign, which is Get a Park Body, and we're doing lots of stuff with Sport England on a program which is going to get a couch to fitness program, which is also awesome. So we can't wait. We're itching to go. Parkers really want to get back in the parks, and even if it's social distanced and sanitized, they just want to get out there and meet new people.
But that online community has become, for the Park Run family as well, it's obviously been, it's clearer and deeper, isn't it, than just the exercise. It's being able to have access to somebody, familiarity, isn't it? So, you'll have your parkers who all know each other. And like you say, it's so nice to have that community together and still be able to meet virtually has been just imperative. I mean, can you imagine if this had happened before the internet was here? It's just unfathomable, isn't it, to think how people, would have dealt with these things mentally, I think, more than physically. We've got loads of questions, Born, so let's get into them. Otherwise, we'll never finish tonight, which is brilliant. We love your questions, so thank you very much. I'm definitely going to say people's names wrong because I can see already. I think I've just seen a question come in from Pirio, and I always pronounce his name wrong. I'm so sorry, Pirio. Okay, we'll start with Luke Helaha, who says, in terms of motivation, what are your thoughts on how we can make initiatives like Park Run and our parks even more inclusive for anyone who wants to exercise?
Yeah, it's all around access points. So access is probably the biggest thing which doesn't allow our sector to thrive as well as we do, and that's with open API. So opening up the API, even just finding a class or a initiative. So for instance, if you're trying to book your kids on to do cycling and canoeing and running all on the same day, at the moment it's very hard. I'll be honest. Even if you want to take your kid down to your local running track and find out when they can run, it is, unless you get there at the right time and that poster on the wall is in date, you won't find it.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
it's we need to think around using technology the way other sectors are using technology. So we need to think about if we're going to make it convenient and we're going to get as many people taking part in our programs, we need to think about, when I say we, it's not the tech of the park run and our park, because we're already in that tech, but it's the people that are coming up. How can we support through making their data or their programs accessible? And suddenly I'm guarantee you there's so many great initiatives out there that don't have the tech capabilities to amplify and be on the same playing field as many guys that aren't delivering a great service. So yeah, so to Luke, it's kind of when we get to a place where everyone can be heard, and it's not about who shouts the loudest, it's about quality, and it's about mattering in people's lives. That will automatically uplift the amount of people that are taking part in exercise.
Yeah. Danny Norman says, please may you ask why Born's favourite junior park run is the one in Surbiton?
Shout out to Danny. You know what? It's flat. And they're quite nippy. And Daniel is very, very good at hosting, gets everyone going as well. So we love it. It's one of our regulars. Hopefully we'll be back soon.
Yeah.
So they miss it.
We can't wait to get back, can we? Everybody can't wait to get back. Zoom Running says, what have been the main things that drove your success with our parks?
It's been able to skate towards the future. So it's been able to do innovation accounting. So when you have a new idea, product or service, if you can't account for that innovation, so the worst thing you could do is say, I'm just going to try this and see what happens. And you will be guaranteed to see what happens. But if you haven't set yourself a journey, a task, a strategy to what that seeing what happens means, you will never make it there. So it's almost like trying to go find a friend's house and they say, I live somewhere in the trees. I'll see you when you get there. You need a map. You need some sort of way that's going to get you on your route. So for me, it was putting in some processes that allowed us to account for innovation, but most importantly, talking to other organisations. Like I take Paul as a massive example, because when someone's on their journey and they've learned and they're willing to share how to steer you in the right direction, that's what we need more of. We need more people that really care about other organisations and not just trying to be, I want it all for myself.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's very important in my eyes.
Karen Spackman says, which local authorities are working with our parks already? I live in a small village and have found that so many initiatives are run in big cities and towns.
Yeah, we are trying to talk to everyone. We started in London, so predominantly all of London local authorities. We are working our way around, so we're doing small district councils and small town councils as well. So we're in Helsham, we're in Staffordshire. If you know a local authority or somewhere where you think we want to be there, we will find a way to get there. On our website, there's a action say get us in your park. You pull it on there and we'll make contact and see if we can get down there.
Brilliant. Elaine Coop says, what you said about your mum brought a tear to my eye. How important do you think fitness across all generations and abilities is?
It's so important. My mum runs a marathon. We ran a marathon together 2 years ago. It's like someone, and she, shout out to the Barking Park run. She volunteers at Barking Park run, and she's there whenever they're there. So yeah, it's so important because my kids, like taking them to Surbiton Park run, and also they see me run with them. They are saying, "Daddy, what time do you get when you run 2K?" And they're pretty fast. I'm pretty scared actually. But they're in their head, it's just physical activity is something they do. They see the parents doing it, we do it with them, and literally they've only just gone in because it's dinner time. But they out here all day playing, running, and learning how to use their body and having fun.
Yeah.
And I think that will breed a fitter nation. And actually on that point, I keep saying this, and I've said it to many people. The fact that Junior Park Run is running you're going to see in the next decade, or in this decade, you're going to see some really, really great middle distance and long distance runners, because some of these kids are nippy. And they are week in, week out, they're practicing and they're running, even though it's not a race, it's just a run. They are getting to the point where they want to beat the last week's run, and they go full pelt. And suddenly, you're going to look up and we're going to say, wow, we've got so many great athletes. And I guarantee you, when you overlay that data of the great athletes coming through, you'll have a lot of them that started at Junior Park Run. I can guarantee you that.
I completely agree. I just think it's consistency, isn't it? I think the fact that it's free, which allows there's the no barrier, the no money barrier. It immediately takes the pressure off all of that, and you can just turn up. And for you, and mostly park runs are in parks, so they're so accessible. It makes it so much easier, doesn't it? And the consistency of being able to go somewhere every week is amazing, isn't it? Mohammed Farah says, how do you deal with self-doubt?
It's hard, Mohammed, that is a hard one. It is. I mean, I think if you have your milestones and you look back at your milestones, and I do lots of, on my social media, I do lots of photos and lots of videos and stories. And they say, why do you do videos and photos and stories all the time? And I say, because when I'm down, I love to look back at when I was happy and when I was doing something. And sometimes just watching yourself doing a funny video or feeling in a certain way can lift you and want you to get back to that point. And then also self-doubt, you have to be willing to share ideas and stuff with your friends and family, but be willing to not get so obsessed with your idea that when you give in feedback, you kind of discount it. And I think one thing I've learned through our parks is I don't really ever get emotionally attached to a new idea. We put a new idea out. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, we change it. And I think the better you become at doing that, the more unlikely you're going to have self-doubt, because you know that you can find a solution for anything you have in front of you.
So many people are saying thank you for your answers. Mostly everybody's so inspired. Harry Alistair Lloyd says, one of the most driven people I've met. I'm not sure how he fits everything he does into a day, week, month or year. He's certainly passing the baton on from his first meetings with Paul, Parkrun's founder. I'm very appreciative of his time as he passes on his knowledge, as he mentors myself and my family initiative. How does Born truly keep going, both at the start and now when he's been so successful?
Oh, shout out to Harry. 10 projects. He's amazing projects, amazing tennis project that we're working on with him. And he's just, again, it's one of those initiatives where he's seen something, he's passionate about it. We had a conversation and he's just flying away with the 10 projects. So all back to Paul. So Paul, like it's if you're willing to help people, it makes a massive impact on so many other people's lives. Just spending time.
Absolutely. Well, I think once you understand it's not a competition, you all want the same outcome. Everybody wants a healthier, happier planet, right? So it's about everybody coming together to do the same thing in just different ways.
Yeah. And I know as humans we are competitive, it's just by nature, but I think, like you said, we're all trying to reach the same common goal, and it's just going to improve the usability or the experience of whatever we're trying to achieve. We've got more people to please. Yeah, I'm a massive believer in that.
Kelly Anderson says, you must have heard a lot of inspirational stories through our parks. Have you any standout ones?
Yeah, so many. Let me just pick. I think one of my favourite ones is a lady called Auntie, who's a Waltham Forest Parker, and we did a little kind of case study about her as well. And it was, we used to run the classes in a park called Ridgeway Park, and she used to walk around the outside and just look in. So when you do stuff outside, you're on show. So unlike being an exercise class in the gym, you can not be on show. I say to the coaches, the moment we're outside, you're on show. You're not only on show for your parkers, but you've got to give them the confidence that anyone watching in, so it's not like they're doing something they shouldn't be doing. So it's a hard job to be an outdoor coach. And then it's just convincing a lady called Auntie. She couldn't walk on rhythm. She couldn't walk very well. She was 60 odd. And we asked her, come to a class, it's for you. And he said, no, I'm not going to come. It's not for me. Looks like I can't do it. And then every week, just little touch points. Hi, Auntie, how are you? You coming yet? And suddenly, she's in the class. She's there. So you don't know how she gets there. She's in the class. And then by the end of it, she's doing bird pee. She's running. She's doing all the stuff that she said she wouldn't do because we didn't give up.
Yeah.
And I think that is the most important thing when you're in a position where you can change people's lives. The customer is always the customer. They're not always right, but always the customer. But you can change the perception on how they interact with you. And I can guarantee you, when you matter in people's lives more than just service or delivery, you make a massive impact.
Oh yeah, that must feel like a huge win. You know, when they come to that first class, that just must feel amazing. Tara Darcy says, what's your advice to anyone who's really nervous about joining outdoor group activities like Parkrun and our parks?
Please, please, please go along. There will be a friendly face there to greet you. There will be someone who will help through every step of the way. And sorry, I lost my screen went blank just there. Someone who will help every step of the way. It's normal to be nervous.
Yeah,
it is normal to be nervous, and the coaches get nervous every time they deliver their session. Even parkers that go every day can get nervous. I can guarantee you will leave feeling like you're part of the community. So please take that step and say Born sent you.
Brilliant. We've got a few viewer comments, so these are obviously not questions. Beverly Gow says, not a question but a statement of thanks. I joined our parks many years ago, which I loved and gave me the confidence to continue fitness activities including Parkrun. Pirio Johnson. Pirio, I'm so sorry. So I've been saying your name wrong. I'm now saying your name right. I'm actually saying her name right, but had presumed wrongly that she was male and you're a girl. And thank you, Pirio, for your lovely questions. Every week, you come back every week and listen, and it's wonderful. And she says, your mother must be very proud of you. I bet she is as well.
She's very proud of me.
The lovely jazz banger to finish on says, what a wonderful interview, so inspiring. Thank you, Born. So thank you so much for an insight into our parks. Thanks to everyone who's tuned in, and you can catch up with Born on Twitter and Instagram via @Born Barikor. So our parks, if people want to look at our parks, Born, where should you head them to?
So the website is ourparks.org.uk, and then on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, it's ourparksuk.
Brilliant. So everyone get clicking and get sending everyone out there. You see, you can get both, can't you? You can get a bit of body fitness for your running, because we all need form, don't we? We need to be able to run like children. I cannot kick my bottom when I run. I would like to learn how to do that.
Yeah, we do everything. We get some yoga, some core, hop over there. But yeah, and then we'll see you at Parkrun, because I can't wait to get back out there.
I know, it's going to be great, isn't it? It's going to be like one massive amazing park family.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you so much. So as always, do check out the many Parkrun social media channels in the UK and the Our Park channels, of course, and across the world, as well as subscribing to the various Parkrun podcasts out there. Now, more than ever, it's important that we all come together and support each other. The Parkrun family and the Our Park family are there for us all, and we will get through this together. Thanks so much, Born.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be. I'm part of the Parkrun family anyway, but
absolutely.
It's a pleasure to talk to you guys. So thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
See ya.